Chosen one, stop scrolling. I need 60 seconds of your life right now, because what I'm about to say to you has been sealed in heaven, waiting for this exact moment to reach you. You thought you were just surviving. You thought those sleepless nights, those unanswered prayers, those years of being overlooked and underestimated, you thought that was just life being hard. But I need to tell you something that will shake the ground beneath your feet. Heaven was grading your response. The whole time you were barely holding on, God was holding a record. Not a record of your failures, not a record of your tears, a report card, a divine assessment, and chosen one. The results are excellent. Now hear me clearly. This was not a test about your talents, not about your bank account, not about your title, your reputation, or how many people showed up for you. This was the hardest kind of test there is, the kind with no warning bell, no proctor, no time limit posted on the wall. It was the test of what you did in the dark, what you chose when you were ignored, how you carried yourself when the people you loved most walked away, whether your heart stayed soft when bitterness had every right to set in. And here is the part that should stop your heart for just a moment. You didn't even know the test had begun. That's the mystery of God's examination room. He never announces it, because he doesn't want a performance. He wants the real you, the you that shows up when nobody's watching, when no applause is coming, when the only witness to your faithfulness is heaven itself. Your tears were not random. They were invisible ink on God's permanent record. Before this message ends, I'm going to show you the 3 signs that prove your suffering was not wasted. There was one response you gave in secret, one quiet decision you made when you were exhausted and forgotten that changed everything in the spirit. And the final proof? It may explain why your life has felt so strangely unsettled lately, like something enormous is circling just outside your view. Stay with me, because the result of this test reveals exactly what God can trust you with next. If this message found you at the exact right time, and I believe it did, type right now, God saw me. Because chosen one, he did. Let me tell you something that nobody warned you about. God's hardest tests never arrive with a subject line. No calendar notification. No angel standing at your door saying, prepare yourself, this is the one that counts. They arrive disguised. They look like a prayer that goes unanswered for 3 years straight. They look like a door that slams shut right when you finally had the courage to knock. They look like loneliness after you made the most obedient decision of your life. They look like silence, deep, suffocating silence after your greatest sacrifice. And here is what makes God's test so different from anything this world throws at you. You can fail it without ever committing a single dramatic sin. Most people don't fail in the catastrophe. They fail in the quiet. They fail in the hidden attitude nobody sees. The slow bitterness that creeps in at 2 o'clock in the morning. The moment gratitude quietly dies and resentment moves in and unpacks its bags. The day you stopped praying, not loudly, not dramatically, you just stopped. That is where the real examination takes place. Not on the stage, in the basement. Think about Joseph. This was a young man who had a God-given dream burning inside his chest. And what did obedience cost him? His brothers stripped the coat off his back and threw him into a pit, then sold him like cargo. Then a false accusation landed him in prison, forgotten, filed away, left to rot. Here is what I need you to feel right now. Joseph did not know he was being tested. He thought he was simply suffering. He thought God had gone quiet. He thought the dream was dead. But in that prison cell, something was being forged inside Joseph that a palace could never have produced. God was not punishing him. God was building the infrastructure of a man who would one day carry the weight of nations. And the test was never, can Joseph win? The test was, can Joseph stay faithful while it looks like he's losing? Now turn that mirror on yourself. Think about David, anointed king of Israel, then sent right back to the fields to tend sheep. No coronation, no crown, no crowd cheering his name, just the same dusty hillside and the same stubborn flock. Years passed, and David worshipped anyway. David served anyway. David stayed tender toward God in the silence anyway. That was the test. Think about Job. A righteous man, and heaven itself acknowledged his righteousness, stripped of everything in a matter of days. And Job didn't have a Bible to flip open for comfort. He had confusion. He had 3 friends giving him the wrong answers. He had a wife telling him to curse God and die. And yet, Job 13:15, though he slay me, yet will I trust him. That sentence wasn't written from a place of comfort. That was written from the floor, from the ash heap, from the place where everything that made sense had already been taken. That is what a passing grade looks like in God's examination room. Galatians 6-9 says it plain and direct. Let us not grow weary in doing good, for in due season we will reap, if we do not give up. Notice what that verse does not say. It does not say, if you perform perfectly. It does not say, if you never doubted. It says, if you do not give up. That was the test. Endurance, not excellence. Endurance. Luke 16:10 goes even deeper. Whoever is faithful in very little is also faithful in much. Your private moments were the curriculum, the small choices, the invisible integrity, the way you treated people when no promotion was attached to it, the way you kept your word when breaking it would have cost you nothing. Heaven was watching what you did with the little, because that determined what he could hand you next. In a moment, I'm going to show you why silence was actually one of the highest scoring responses you gave during this test. And there is a reason, a very specific, spiritually strategic reason, why the enemy pushed hardest against you in private, when no one was watching. Because your enemy understood something about you that you had not yet discovered. He knew that if you could be broken in secret, you would never rise in public. He knew that if he could poison your attitude in the hidden place, your calling would never reach the open field. So he came for you, precisely there in the loneliness, in the confusion, in the exhausted ordinary days that seemed to lead nowhere. But you didn't break. You bent. You bled. You questioned everything. But you stayed. And chosen one, that is not a small thing. That is not average faith. Some levels of calling can only be trusted to a soul that has been tested in the dark and chose God anyway. The roots you grew in that winter season, the ones nobody could see, they were going deep. And deep roots do not fear the storm that's coming. They were made for it. If you ever had to keep walking with God while nothing around you made sense, while the math didn't add up and the promise felt like it was mocking, you write right now, I stayed. Because what comes next in this message will finally explain why that decision changed everything. Let me ask you something nobody else has had the courage to ask you. When they lied about you and you knew the truth, what did you do? When they took credit for what you built, when they twisted your words, when they walked away after everything you gave them, what did you do? You stayed quiet, and the world called that weakness. But heaven called it something else entirely. Chosen one, I need you to understand something that most people will never grasp in their lifetime. Silence in the face of injustice is not surrender. It is the highest form of submitted strength. Think about the moments. You know exactly which ones I'm talking about. That conversation where one sentence, just one, could have exposed everything they did. You had the receipts. You had the witnesses. You had every right. Your hands were shaking. Your heart was pounding. Every nerve in your body was screaming, say it, tell them, let the truth out. But you didn't. You swallowed it. You walked away. You cried in private where nobody could see, and you woke up the next morning and kept moving. Do you have any idea what that cost you? Do you understand the internal war you survived that day? Because here is what nobody tells you about restraint. It is not passive. It is violent. It is the most violent thing a human being can do, to feel the full force of rage, of grief, of righteous anger, and choose not to release it. That takes more strength than any comeback ever could. The Bible says in Romans 12:19, "Vengeance is mine, I will repay, saith the Lord." That verse is not just a comfort. It is a transfer of authority. The moment you stepped back, you handed the gavel to God, and God does not miss, He does not forget, and He does not settle cheap. Think of Jesus, standing before Pilate, falsely accused, mocked, spit on. He had spoken galaxies into existence, and He said nothing. Isaiah 53:7. He was oppressed and afflicted, yet He opened not His mouth. That silence was not defeat. That silence was the hinge point of all human history. And your silence, the silence in that kitchen, that hospital waiting room, that boardroom, that phone call where you bit your tongue until it bled, your silence was a hinge point too. Maybe not for all of history, but for your story, and for everyone whose life is connected to yours. Now let me press deeper, because this is where it gets personal. There was someone who disrespected you publicly. They humiliated you in front of people whose opinion mattered to you, and you felt it. You felt the heat rise in your chest. You felt the sting behind your eyes. You wanted to defend your name. You wanted to tell your side. You wanted the room to know the real story. But somehow, through tears, you kept your mouth from becoming your weapon. Do you know what that looked like from heaven? A bruised hand refusing to throw the stone, thunder restrained inside a cloud, a sword drawn, raised, and then slowly, deliberately returned to its sheath. That image is on God's record, permanently. Proverbs 16:32 says, "One who is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and one who rules his spirit than one who takes a city." You didn't just survive that moment. You ruled. You ruled yourself. And that is rarer than talent, rarer than success, rarer than almost anything God looks for in a human soul. Every time you refused revenge, you passed a level of spiritual promotion that most people never reach. Every time you let them have the last word, you were handed something invisible, something they cannot touch, something the world cannot manufacture. Authority, spiritual authority. The kind that doesn't come from a title or a platform. It comes from proven character under fire. And that response unlocked something few people understand. Pain can become authority. The very wound they gave you became the credential that qualifies you to speak into the lives of people carrying the same wound. Your suffering was not wasted. It was archived. Right here, in the middle of this message, I want you to stop and claim this out loud. Say it wherever you are, in your living room, in your car, in that quiet room where you've done most of your surviving. Say it like you mean it. God fought for me when I stayed quiet. Say it again. Let your own ears hear it, because it's true, every single time. God was not absent in those moments. He was present, watching the restraint, weighing the sacrifice, recording the victory. And now that the test is behind you, He is preparing to do something with that silence you held. Because, chosen one, silence held in faith does not disappear. It accumulates, it builds. And when God finally speaks on your behalf, the whole room will hear it. Stay with me, because what comes next will show you exactly what God does with a soul He has proven He can trust. Let me ask you something that nobody has been bold enough to ask you directly. How long have you been waiting? Not days, not weeks. I'm talking about years, maybe decades. You've watched younger people step into opportunities that seemed made for you. You've prayed the same prayer so many times, the words started to feel hollow. You've done everything right, lived with integrity, stayed faithful, kept showing up, and still, the breakthrough hasn't come. And somewhere deep inside, in a place you don't talk about at the dinner table or mention at church, you've wondered, did God forget about me? I need you to stop right there. Because that question, that painful, honest 3 a.m. question is not evidence of weak faith. It is evidence that you are human. And God is not frightened by your honesty. He built you for it. But here is what I need you to hear today, chosen one. Your delay was never denial. It was evaluation. There is something about reaching a certain age in America that the world never prepares you for. You've paid your dues. You've buried loved ones. You've raised children, survived losses, rebuilt from nothing more than once. And you look around and think, surely by now it should have come together. But it hasn't. And that silence has felt like a verdict. It hasn't. God does not issue verdicts against his chosen. He issues processes. Jeremiah 29:11 says it plainly, "For I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." That word "know" in the original Hebrew carries the weight of intimate, careful, deliberate knowledge. God wasn't guessing at your life. He was engineering it. The delay you lived through was not an accident in his plan. It was the plan. Think about a house before the keys are handed over. Before any family moves in, an inspector walks every room. He checks the foundation. He tests the walls. He looks for what the eye cannot see. The house doesn't understand why it's waiting. It just stands there. But the inspector is not wasting time. He is certifying that what's inside can bear the weight of real life. That inspector was God. And you were the house. He was walking through every room of your character, testing the foundation of your faith when comfort disappeared, checking the walls of your integrity when shortcuts were available, inspecting your heart when betrayal came knocking and bitterness offered you a key. And chosen one, you held. The foundation held. Now think about a bridge. Before a single car is allowed to cross, engineers load that bridge with weight far beyond what it was designed to carry in normal life. They stress test it. They push it past the edge of comfort, not to destroy it, but to prove it can carry what's coming. Your long seasons of waiting were not God ignoring you. They were God stress testing the bridge of your spirit, because he already knew what he was about to send across it. He was asking one question the entire time. Can this soul hold the blessing without being destroyed by it? Because here is the brutal, beautiful truth that nobody preaches loudly enough. Some blessings kill the unprepared. Sudden wealth destroys unprepared hands. Sudden influence corrupts an unformed character. Sudden elevation shatters a soul that was never taught to be steady under pressure. God loved you too much to hand you something that would have ruined the younger version of you. Proverbs 19:21 says, "Many are the plans in a person's heart, but it is the Lord's purpose that prevails." Your timeline wasn't delayed because heaven was slow. It was delayed because God's purpose required a version of you that didn't exist yet. He was building that version, quietly, deliberately, in the waiting. Every year that felt stolen from you, it wasn't stolen, it was invested. Every prayer that seemed to bounce off the ceiling, it didn't evaporate, it was recorded. Every morning you chose to get up and keep going, when everything in you wanted to quit. That was not survival, that was formation. A seed planted in November doesn't break ground until spring. You don't dig it up in January and call it dead. You trust the process underground, because the longer the root system forms in darkness, the stronger the tree that rises in the light. You have been underground, chosen one, forming roots that the world hasn't seen yet. What if the very thing you believed proved you were forgotten is actually the evidence that God was being careful with your future? What if the delay was not his distance from you, but his devotion to you? The evaluation season is not punishment. It never was. It was God refusing to rush a masterpiece. And soon, I'm going to show you the first sign that your evaluation season is ending. the first signal heaven sends when the waiting is almost over. If this is speaking directly to your spirit right now, if something in your chest just shifted, type these words: my delay had a purpose, because it did. Every single day of it. And what comes next in your story will prove it. Let me tell you something the world never taught you. The thing that nearly destroyed you, that season that left you hollow, that period where you cried in rooms nobody entered, where you smiled in public and bled in private, that was not a setback. That was a seminary. And you graduated without even knowing you enrolled. Chosen one. The real result of God's hardest test is not a blessing sitting somewhere on the horizon waiting to arrive. The real result is already inside you. It is the person you became while you were being broken. Because what crushed you also carved you. What pressed you also produced you. And what the enemy designed to flatten you, God used to deepen you in ways that cannot be manufactured, purchased, or faked. You cannot teach what you carried, you can only become it. Think about the olive. It gives nothing until it is crushed. The oil, the precious, anointed oil, does not exist without pressure. And the heavier the press, the purer the oil that flows. Chosen one, you have been under that press. And what is flowing out of you now is not ordinary. It is refined. It is rare. It is the kind of substance heaven uses to anoint what matters. That is not poetry. That is your life. Now let me ask you something that may shake you. Have you noticed that you do not react the same way anymore? Someone says something harsh, and instead of breaking, you breathe. A door slams shut, and instead of panicking, something deep inside you whispers, "Not yet, but something better is coming." A situation that would have sent the old you into a spiral barely moves you now. That is not emotional distance. That is not coldness. That is not you giving up on feeling. That is authority. Spiritual authority built in the fire of private suffering. The kind no classroom produces. The kind no conference can hand you. The kind that only comes from surviving what you survived and still choosing God on the other side of it. Proverbs 20:30 says it plainly. Blows that wound cleanse away evil. Strokes make clean the innermost parts. That word cleanse in the Hebrew carries the meaning of scraping, of removing what does not belong. What felt like a wound was actually God removing everything that would have limited you at your next level. He was not punishing you, He was preparing you. There is a difference, and your soul knows it now. Because suffering, real suffering, the kind you carry alone, does something to a person that comfort never could. It develops discernment. You can read rooms now. You can sense intentions before they are spoken. You know the difference between someone who wants your anointing and someone who wants your assignment. You have learned, sometimes painfully, that not every open door is a God door. That not every friendly face carries a faithful spirit. That wisdom did not come from a book. It came from a wound and patience. Chosen one, do you realize what the enemy stole when he thought he was stealing your timeline? He handed you patience, the deep-rooted, unshakable kind. The kind that watches other people rush into seasons they were not ready for and simply says, "My time is coming, and I will be ready when it does." A tree does not apologize for its rings. Every ring inside that trunk is a record of a storm it survived, a drought it endured, a winter it outlasted. And with every ring, the tree does not just grow taller, it grows thicker, denser, more immovable. That is you. Every storm you survived added a ring. Every betrayal, every delay, every silent season added a ring. And the person standing in the room today is not the same lightweight who entered this journey years ago. You are carrying weight now, holy weight, the kind that makes a room feel different when you walk into it. This is why some spaces feel different when you enter them now. There is a gravity to you that was not there before. People sense it even when they cannot name it. Something in them recognizes that you have been somewhere, that you carry something earned, not given. This is also why you no longer fit where you once begged to belong. You stretched yourself trying to fit into rooms that were always too small for what God placed inside you. You apologized for taking up space in places that were never your assignment. And now something in your spirit has stopped apologizing. Something has settled. Something has arrived at a quiet, unshakable knowing. The reward is not only what God will give you, the reward is who you have become. Because God does not hand great assignments to comfortable people. He hands them to tested ones, to the ones who kept the faith when faith felt foolish, to the ones who chose integrity when shortcuts were available, to the ones who endured the press and still produced oil. Scars are not your shame, they are your credentials. You are a veteran soul now. And veterans do not carry noise, they carry rank. Declare this right now with everything in you. My pain did not ruin me, it ranked me. Say it until your bones believe it. Because in the next section, I am going to show you the evidence, the visible, undeniable evidence that heaven is already repositioning you for what comes next. And chosen one, it is bigger than you think. Let me read you something, not from a newspaper, not from a doctor's report, not from anyone on this earth who has ever judged you, measured you, or counted you out. This is from a record that was written in a place where no lie can enter, where no bias exists, where no favoritism distorts the verdict. And the verdict reads, "Excellent." Now I need you to understand what that word means, because heaven does not grade on a curve. Heaven does not hand out participation trophies. Heaven does not reward performance. Heaven rewards truth. And the truth of who you are, the real you, the private you, the you that nobody sees at 3 o'clock in the morning, that truth has been seen, weighed, evaluated, and stamped with one word, excellent. But chosen one, let me show you exactly what heaven saw, because this is not a general compliment. This is a specific report, line by line, decision by decision, moment by moment. Heaven saw that you stayed when everyone around you quit. You remember that season. The one where the people you counted on disappeared, where the support system you built collapsed overnight, where you looked around and realized you were standing alone in a place that used to be full. And you stayed, not because it was easy, not because you weren't tempted to walk away, but because something deep in your spirit, something God Himself planted there, refused to let you abandon your post. Proverbs 24:16 says, "A righteous man falls 7 times and rises again." 7 times, not once, not twice, 7. And heaven counted every single time you got back up, every time. That is what was recorded. Not the falling, the rising. Heaven saw that bitterness knocked on your door and you didn't let it move in. Do you understand how rare that is? Do you have any idea how many people, good people, faithful people, people who loved God, opened that door just a crack and let bitterness settle in like a permanent tenant? You had every reason, every justification. The betrayal was real. The injustice was real. The pain was not imagined. It was documented in heaven itself. And yet, you chose not to become what hurt you. You chose to remain soft when hardness would have been so much easier. You chose to keep your heart open when closing it would have felt like self-protection. That was not weakness. That was one of the most powerful decisions a human soul can make. And heaven marked it. Heaven marked it with excellence. Heaven saw you pray when prayer felt like shouting into an empty room. There were nights, and you know exactly which ones I'm talking about, where the words felt hollow, where the ceiling felt like concrete, where you wondered if anyone was actually listening. And you prayed anyway. Romans 8:26 tells us the Spirit helps us in our weakness, for we do not know what to pray as we ought. You didn't have the right words. You didn't have the right feeling. Sometimes all you had was a whisper. Sometimes all you had was a single tear and a name, just the name of Jesus, spoken into the darkness. That counted. Every single whisper counted. Heaven saw you endure without needing the crowd to validate your pain. This one is deep, because the world we live in tells you that if nobody claps for your suffering, it didn't matter. If nobody acknowledged what you carried, it wasn't real. If nobody gave you credit for surviving, maybe you didn't survive at all. But chosen one, God does not need a witness to validate what he already saw. You carried burdens that never made it to anyone's prayer list. You fought battles that never made it into anyone's conversation. You survived seasons that you couldn't even fully explain to yourself. And you did it without becoming cruel, without becoming cold, without punishing the world for what a few people did to you. In the place where most people collapse, heaven recorded, "Excellent." Now here is where it gets even more powerful. The result of this test is not just affirmation, it is repositioning. Excellent results always trigger new responsibility. Always. This is not a gold star on your refrigerator. This is a promotion document signed, sealed, and authorized in the unseen realm. The file that heaven kept on you through every trial, every delay, every silent season. That file has been opened. At the right hour. At this hour. Because God does not promote the perfect. He promotes the proven. Daniel was proven in the lion's den before he was elevated. Joseph was proven in the prison before he was positioned in the palace. David was proven in the wilderness before he was crowned before the nation. And you, chosen one, you have been proven in the very places nobody else was watching. That proof is your promotion. That endurance is your credential. That survival is your open door. If you receive that in your spirit right now, if something in your chest just shifted, just exhaled, just finally felt seen, type it boldly right now. Excellent by grace, because that is exactly what you are. And what God has graded excellent, no person, no devil, no delay on this earth can ever downgrade. Stay with me. Because now that you know the result, it's time to find out what God is about to do with it. Now stay with me, because this next part may be the most important thing you hear today. Something has been happening inside you. And I don't mean recently. I mean for a while now. Quietly, gradually. Like a tide pulling back before something enormous arrives on shore. You've felt it, haven't you? That strange restlessness in your spirit. That growing distance from people and places that used to feel like home. That hollow feeling when you walk into rooms that once felt full and now feel like they belong to someone you used to be. You thought something was wrong with you. You wondered if you were depressed, disconnected, maybe even losing your faith. But chosen one, I need to stop you right there, because what you have been interpreting as a breakdown is actually a breakthrough in motion. Let me ask you something direct. When was the last time small talk truly satisfied you? When was the last time you could sit in a shallow conversation and actually feel full afterward? When was the last time flattery felt like enough? You can't remember, can you? And here's what's startling about that: you didn't decide to change. You woke up one day and the things that used to fill you simply didn't anymore. Like a coat you've worn for 20 years, suddenly pulling tight across the shoulders. You didn't gain weight. You grew. Proverbs 4:18 says it plainly. The path of the righteous is like the morning sun, shining ever brighter till the full light of day. You are not dimming, you are brightening. And bright light makes certain rooms uncomfortable. That's why some people have been pulling away from you. Not because you did something wrong, not because you've become difficult or cold, but because dawn makes the night creatures uncomfortable. You have started carrying a frequency, a spiritual weight that certain relationships simply cannot hold anymore. And deep down, you already know which ones. You've noticed it. The conversations that used to feel easy now feel exhausting. The friendships built on gossip, on complaining, on performing, they feel like borrowed clothes that never really fit. You've become protective of your peace in a way you never were before. You find yourself choosing silence over argument, solitude over noise, depth over distraction. That is not isolation. That is discernment. That is God repositioning you. Here's the truth that most people never get told, and this is where I need you to lean in close. After the hardest test, God does not immediately hand you the blessing. First, He shifts your appetite. He changes what you hunger for. He makes the old environment feel too small because He is preparing you for a room your former self could not have handled. Think of it this way. You cannot pour new wine into old wineskins. Jesus said that in Matthew 9:17, and He meant it literally for your life right now. The discomfort you feel around certain people, that's a wineskin splitting. The restlessness you feel in environments you once loved, that's a room growing too small. The emotional detachment from things that used to excite you, that is your spirit refined by fire, refusing to go backward. Your discomfort is not a malfunction. It is evidence that the season has shifted. Now I need to tell you something that will either terrify you or set you completely free. God is not fixing you for the life you had. He is not restoring you to who you were before the test. He is not patching the old version of you back together and sending you out like nothing happened. He is building someone new, someone steadier, someone who has been through enough to be trusted with more, someone whose peace cannot be stolen by a bad phone call, a betrayal at the dinner table, or a door that slams in their face. Romans 8:28. All things work together for good to them that love God. Not some things, not the comfortable things, all things, including the confusion you are feeling right now, including the loneliness of this transition, including the grief of outgrowing people you genuinely loved. All of it is working. All of it is building. All of it is on purpose. There are 3 specific blessings that almost always appear after a test like the one you just survived. And the third one is the one most people miss entirely. Most people walk right past it because it doesn't look like what they expected a blessing to look like. I'm going to show you all 3. But first, the next part will explain something even more urgent. It will tell you exactly why certain people are falling away from your life right now, and why that falling away is not a loss. It is God clearing the path. If you can already feel this shift happening inside you, if something in your spirit is saying, yes, this is exactly what I've been living, write it right now. I feel the change. Because chosen one, that change you feel, it has a name, it has a purpose, and it is taking you exactly where God always intended. Here is what nobody tells you after the wilderness, after the fire, after the silence, after the years that felt like they were swallowing you whole. Nobody tells you what happens next, but I'm telling you today, because this is the part that matters most. God does not give tested people ordinary blessings. He gives them entrusted favor. There is a difference, and that difference will change the way you see every single year you thought was wasted. Ordinary favor falls on anyone. It's seasonal, it's fragile, it comes and goes like weather. But entrusted favor, that is something else entirely. That is God looking at a life that has been through the fire, a heart that bent but never broke, a spirit that kept whispering yes when everything else screamed quit, and saying, I can put something heavy and holy into these hands. They won't drop it. That is what He is saying over you right now. Think about what a key means. A key is not given to someone who just showed up. A key is given to someone the owner trusts. And right now, chosen one, God is placing new keys into your hands, steady hands, seasoned hands, hands that have been through enough to know the difference between a gift and a God. Because here is the truth that the world will never teach you. The reason so many people receive blessings and lose them is because they were never tested first. They got the promotion before the preparation, the platform before the pruning, the relationship before the refinement. But you waited. You endured. You were hollowed out by hard seasons until there was nothing left inside you but faith. And now God can pour into you without it leaking. Proverbs 10:22 says it plainly, "The blessing of the Lord makes rich, and he adds no sorrow with it." No sorrow. Do you understand what that means? It means what is coming to you will not destroy you. It will not arrive with hidden damage attached, because you have already been prepared to carry it with grace. Now I need to speak directly to someone right now. Maybe you are in your 60s, maybe your 70s. Maybe you have buried dreams so long ago that you stopped checking if they were still breathing. And the enemy has been whispering the cruelest lie he knows. It's too late for you. I need you to hear me with everything inside you right now. Your years were not wasted. Your hidden faithfulness still counts. Moses was 80 years old when God said now. Abraham was 100 when the promise arrived. Anna prayed in that temple for decades in widowhood and silence, and she was the one chosen to see the Messiah with her own eyes. God does not discard seasoned vessels. He deploys them. And here is what I know about you. The very depth of what you have survived has produced something inside you that a 20-year-old cannot manufacture. It cannot be bought. It cannot be faked. It is called gravitas, spiritual weight. The kind of presence that walks into a room and brings peace with it, without saying a single word. That is what the wilderness produces. That is what God has been building in you all along. So what exactly does he now trust you with? He trusts you with deeper peace, not the peace that depends on circumstances, but the kind that guards your mind like a soldier. Philippians 4:7. He trusts you with clearer direction, no more wandering, no more second-guessing every step. The path ahead will feel different, more certain, more lit. He trusts you with restored confidence, not arrogance, but the quiet, unshakable knowing that God is with you, and that is enough. He trusts you with strategic doors, rooms you never knocked on, opportunities that carry your name written on them before you even arrived. He trusts you with influence, real influence, the kind that comes not from a title, but from a testimony. People will sit down and listen to you, not because of what you achieved, but because of what you survived. And he trusts you with assignments that require maturity, not shallow tasks, not small errands. The kind of kingdom work that only someone who has been refined can carry without it corrupting them. Because you no longer worship the gift above the giver, and that is what makes you dangerous to darkness and safe in God's hands. The blessing after the test is not random favor falling from the sky. It is a crown being placed on the head of someone who survived the wilderness long enough to stop wanting the crown for the wrong reasons. And that someone is you. Say this by faith right now out loud, where your own ears can hear it. God can trust me with more. Say it like you mean it. Say it like heaven is leaning in to hear it, because it is. But before this message ends, there is one warning you must hear, because passing the test does not mean the enemy stops watching. And what comes next, you need to be ready for it. Now I need to stop right here, because this is the moment most people get it wrong. They survived the fire. They endured the silence. They passed the test they never saw coming. And then, right at the threshold of everything God prepared, they stumble. Not from weakness, not from failure, from pride, from habit, from the subtle, dangerous instinct to go back to what was familiar. Chosen one, hear me with your whole spirit right now. The greatest threat to your next season is not the enemy outside you. It is the old you, reaching back. Let me be direct with you. No softening, no sugarcoating, because you've come too far for flattery. The Bible says it plainly in Luke 5:37. No one pours new wine into old wineskins. If they do, the new wine will burst the container. It will be lost, wasted, destroyed not by opposition, but by an incompatible vessel. You are the new wine now. You came through the refinement. You carry something different, something deeper, something God shaped in the furnace of your most private pain. And the warning heaven is releasing over you today is this: don't pour what God just built into a container He already cracked. Don't go crawling back to the rooms God removed you from. Don't reopen the doors He closed with purpose. Don't pick up the phone to people He used silence to separate you from. That season ended for a reason, and revisiting it out of nostalgia or loneliness will cost you more than you're prepared to pay. Here's the question nobody asks after survival, and it's the one that determines everything. Can you receive joy without sabotaging it? Because here's the pattern I've watched break people who deserved better. They survived something brutal. God brought them through. Blessing began to form around them, and then quietly, almost invisibly, they started self-protecting against the very thing they prayed for. They kept wounds open as identity because the pain had become familiar. They announced blessings prematurely and watched jealousy drain what grace had built. They confused the peace God gave them with permission to stop moving. They let delayed gratitude slowly harden into self-protection against joy, as if they were no longer allowed to be happy, as if survival was the ceiling, not the floor. Chosen one passing the test is not the finish line, it is the threshold. There is a difference between a survivor and someone who walks in what survival produced. One stops at the bridge, the other crosses it and does not look back at the fire. Hebrews 12:1 says, "Let us throw off everything that hinders and run with perseverance the race marked out for us." Not some things, everything. That includes the old story you keep telling about yourself. The version of you defined by what hurt you, the identity built around the wound instead of the healing. Because here's the spiritual truth that cuts deep. A healed bone is stronger than the one that never broke. But if you keep striking it in the same place, carelessly, recklessly, it will fracture again. Your healing is not decorative, it is structural. Treat it with the weight it deserves. And don't let pride touch what humility carried you into. You didn't survive because you were the strongest in the room. You survived because you were broken enough to stay dependent on God when every instinct told you to take control. That brokenness was your protection. That surrender was your strategy. The moment you start believing the blessing is about your brilliance, the foundation begins to shift. Proverbs 16:18 doesn't whisper. It declares pride goes before destruction. Not maybe, not sometimes, before destruction. So walk carefully, walk gratefully, walk with the quiet confidence of someone who knows exactly who carried them here and has no intention of forgetting it. Let me tell you what this new season actually requires of you. It requires discernment over desperation, patience over performance, stillness over speed. It requires you to stop explaining yourself to people who weren't present for the test. Their opinion of your promotion is none of your business. It requires you to stop revisiting old pain as proof of your story. Your story is not what happened to you. Your story is what God did while it was happening, and it requires you to stop protecting yourself from joy. You are allowed to receive fully what God releases fully. Grace is not a trick. Blessing is not a trap. You are not waiting to be punished for daring to hope. You already passed the hard part. Now comes the final word, the declaration that seals this entire message. And this closing prayer is specifically for the person who knows deep in their bones that they survived something that by every natural measure should have broken them completely. You know who you are. You felt it when this message began. You felt it building with every word. This is your moment. Not to perform, not to announce, but to step quietly, deliberately, without looking back across the threshold God has been preparing since before you understood what you were walking through. If you're ready to walk carefully with what God is doing next, write it right now. I will not go backward, because, chosen one, the fire is behind you, and everything ahead has already been cleared by the God who never once looked away. Let me tell you what just happened to you, not what you think happened, not the version you've been carrying around in your chest like a wound that never fully closed. I mean what actually happened, the version heaven recorded. You walked into a room with no door marked test, no countdown clock, no instructions handed to you, no teacher standing at the front of the room telling you what was coming. You just lived. You just endured. You just kept breathing when breathing itself felt like labor. And the whole time God was watching every single move. Here is what he saw. He saw you swallow your pride when you had every reason to explode. He saw you show up for people who never showed up for you. He saw you pray through cracked lips when faith felt like the most unreasonable thing left in your hands. He saw you choose kindness when bitterness was sitting right there, offering you an easier chair. He saw what nobody else honored. And now, right now, I need you to receive this truth with every cell in your body. The result is excellent, not passing, not acceptable, not good enough. Excellent. That is heaven's official word over the season that nearly took you out. Hear me now. What did not kill you prepared you. What delayed you refined you. What hurt you deepened you. What confused you trained you. What isolated you clarified you. What broke your expectations built your spirit. Every single thing you called a loss, God called it curriculum. The furnace was not your punishment, it was your preparation. And here is the miracle that should drop you to your knees right now. You walked out of that furnace, and you do not smell like smoke. Your faith is still breathing. Your softness is still intact. Your dignity, nobody took it. Your trust in God, still alive. That is not ordinary survival. That is the fingerprint of God on a human life. Ecclesiastes 3:18 says, God tests us to show us what we are made of. Not to show him he already knew. He tested you to show you, to prove to your own spirit what you were capable of carrying without collapsing. And you passed. Now I want to speak directly over you like a verdict being read in the highest courtroom in existence. You are not forgotten. You are not disqualified. You are not behind. You are not empty after everything you survived. You are not the version of yourself that the hard season tried to make permanent. You are tested. You are trusted. And you are being positioned. The door to the testing chamber is closing behind you, right now. Not someday, now. And the door opening in front of you, it leads somewhere you have never stood before. A place of peace that makes no natural sense. A place of wisdom that only comes from surviving what you survived. A place of holy expectation where you finally know deep in your bones that God does not waste a single tear, a single night, a single silent season. Job 23:10 says it plainly. When he has tested me, I will come forth as gold. Not silver, not bronze. Gold, that is what you are now. And gold does not apologize for its value. Gold does not shrink back because the fire was hot. Gold shines precisely because it went through the heat. So let me ask you something that I need you to sit with. What if everything you called a setback was actually God setting you up? What if the very season you begged him to remove was the season he was using to build the version of you that could actually hold what he is about to release? The real miracle is not that you survived the test. The real miracle is that you came out of it with your faith still alive, your heart still soft, your hands still open, your eyes still looking up. That is rare. That is holy. And heaven is not silent about it. Now, before you leave this moment, and I mean this with everything in me, do not let this word evaporate. If this message reached you at the exact moment it was supposed to, type right now, I passed. and God knows it. Let those words leave your body. Let them hit the atmosphere. Because what you declare in faith, heaven confirms in the spirit. And if you know someone right now, a friend, a family member, somebody sitting in silence, thinking nobody sees their struggle, share this message with them. They need to know heaven saw everything. Every quiet sacrifice, every swallowed cry, every act of faithfulness in an empty room. Subscribe if you want messages that speak to the battles nobody else sees. And before you close this out, take just one moment, not to ask for the blessing that's coming. You'll receive that. But thank God right now for the strength that brought you through. Because chosen one, that strength is the blessing. And it lives in you now, permanently.